We're ready. We're going live. Let's do it. Get hyped, ladies and gentlemen. The absolute first Apple event of the year, spring loaded. Let's just hope the Apple event itself is loaded with hardware, because that would get me much more excited than if this is just a podcast plus services ad, which honestly has now become my biggest fear, that this event is simply just going to be a 1 hour podcast. Essentially, Tim Cook is going to be like, this is the first episode of Podcasts Plus, hosted by Oprah and me, and there's no hardware to talk about at all. Although there's plenty of people on Twitter still saying that this is confirmed a hardware event. Very likely now that the Apple Store app is down. This is official in case you were out of the loop. Be right back. Obviously, this app would look much, much better on a mini LED iPad Pro, because those pixels could be all the way off. But they aren't, because this is a stupid liquid retina display. No one likes you, LCD. We need those individual mini backlit zones, like the Pro Display XDR. I saw one over the weekend, by the way. Hey, everyone, can you hear me okay? Glad the chat is all tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Let's go. It'll be super expensive, yes. I've been saying for months now, I think, or weeks. I've been saying for a while that you should probably expect... It's not like a confirmed thing. I'm not saying this. I don't have sources or anything. I'm just saying it's probably reasonable to assume that if there's a mini LED iPad Pro coming out today, it will cost a bit more than the last one. And most people are likely thinking like, oh no, they're not going to make it more expensive. $1,000, that's the absolute maximum I would pay for an iPad Pro. There's no way Apple could ever expect people to pay more than that. Even though they sell $700 wheels, people still hold on to hope that they're like, no, they're going to keep it at $1,000. And I kept saying in previous Twitch streams, I was just like, guys, they're switching to mini LED. That's a big display jump. This is the first mini LED Apple product they've ever announced. iPads have always been LCD ever since the first generation. So that had me thinking, like, if this is the first time we're actually getting a boost in display quality on the iPad, first generation display quality, there could be a price jump. And Wedbush, an analyst, actually came forward and said to expect a price jump with the mini LED iPad Pro. So I'm not alone. Now even Wedbush is coming forward saying it could be a bit more expensive. That the mini LED iPad Pro could be $1,100, $1,200. I know you don't want that. I know you're all against that, and you're like, no. They're somehow going to just make the whole device thicker at a much, much higher quality display with much better dynamic range. They're going to do everything they did with the $5,000 Pro Display XDR and shrink it down into a portable product, and it will not cost them anything extra. Because that makes sense. That is logical. That they will somehow miraculously, just like the iPhone X, no price increase, right? Oh, wait. There was a price increase. I'm just trying to set your expectations in place, all right? Because this is the hype stream. This is where people get all of their hype, and they're like, this is when we're getting Apple Car announcement. This is when we're getting Apple Glasses announcement. This is when we're going to get the 32-inch iMac with M2T chip, and it's going to be insanely fast, and it'll cost $3. It's going to be announced in the next hour. I know it's going to happen officially. Bigger battery, maybe. I hope so. There better be a bigger battery. It's got to accommodate all those little mini LEDs. That's what it is. Little backlight things. Magic LED is going to add $420 to the price. Yes. If a mini LED iPad comes out, iPadOS gets Logic in Filmic Pro. Oh, does it? Is that the difference? I think there will be, for sure. Oh, Sharia saying there will for sure be an increased price. I'm not going to say it's confirmed or it's a for sure thing. I'm just saying expect it. Because if there's not a price increase, you'll be decently surprised. I will be too, because I'm going into this expecting the iPad Pro to be more expensive. I'm just going to assume that's what's going to happen. And if it doesn't, then I'll be like, okay, cool. It's only $1,000, which is as much as it normally costs. 69 days before quadruple UDC. Beautiful. Prepare for the memes. Thank you, Joe. This is where we freak out together about all the potential hardware that could launch right before the event begins, and we all get disappointed. Yep. I've been doing this for a few years, guys. I know how it works. I wonder if they're going to call it XDR or not. You know, there should be an official name for this, because they're not going to call it Liquid Retina. That's what they've called the 2018 and 2020 iPad Pro displays, which are just LCD displays. They're not really any different from the iPad Pros before them. But because the iPhone XR officially got the term Liquid Retina, even though that was just a 326 pixels per inch normal LCD display. These will not be called Liquid Retina. I almost think, I don't know if they'll incorporate XDR into the iPad name itself, as in like iPad Pro XDR, although that does kind of sound like something Apple would do. People wouldn't say that. It wouldn't roll off the tongue as well. But there's in my opinion, a high chance that they brand the display when they're unveiling the device and talking about all the new hardware. They're like, this is rocking a Super Retina XDR display, the same way, we don't call it the iPhone 12 XDR, but they do brand, when they unveiled the iPhone 12, they were like, oh, these have Super Retina XDR displays. Oh, we got some super chats here. Thank you. Benjamin says, I had a dream last night that Apple bought Pokemon, and that oddly made sense. By the way, yes, I intentionally pronounced Pokemon wrong, just to tick you guys off. Ian Lindsay, thank you for the emojis and the super chat as well. Cameron G says, I honestly wouldn't be upset if the iPad Pro 12.9 inch moved to 1100. I don't know if that's how I would describe it. I'm not sure if I would say I wouldn't be upset, because I'm annoyed with any price increase, honestly. Like, I was so incredibly excited for the standalone monitor to come back. Like in 2019, there were all these rumors, and I believe Craig and Phil even said on a podcast once that they were going to make another standalone monitor eventually in 2019, and I got really excited. I was like, okay, finally, they're going to get back into the, Thunderbolt monitor display, and it's going to look all clean and thin bezels and futuristic, and you could be able to dock it, and maybe it'll cost, $2,000 or something expensive like that. But then what actually happened comes out, it's $5,000 without a stand, $1,000 extra for the stand. And then I was like, okay, well, it's a great screen. I get it. The panel's really, extreme. They basically went too far. They took it too far. I had not seen one until last weekend, by the way. I actually did finally go to an Apple store and get to check one out. It looked very good, but it's not $6,000 good. It's by far the best display Apple's ever made. But I would pay probably $3,000 for that screen. I don't think I would pay $6,000. I'd be willing. In my opinion, that's a bit of an Apple tax in itself, because the old Thunderbolt monitors back in the day were like $1,000, and those came with a stand and a screen and a webcam and speakers and extra ports on the back. And the Pro Display XDR doesn't even have a webcam and all that. But anyway, we're not getting new monitors at this event, or are we? It is spring loaded. But okay. Talking about what I really, really hope happens at the spring-loaded event is Mac anything. I don't care if it's just the 24-inch iMac, that would be amazing, or the 13-inch MacBook Pro with an M1X chip. If there's any type of new Apple Silicon, I'll be excited, because then we get to see how much better Apple can make their chips. We expected this 2-year transition to get going pretty quick, and we haven't got any new Macs since November. So I'm hoping that we could get some today, but again, it's not really a for sure thing. We still got some people suggesting like, we might get some new Macs, we might not. It doesn't sound like the rumor community or the analysts are very for sure on it. A lot of them are saying like, potentially we could get new iMacs, we might not, Gurman was alluding to it. He was like, why would the iPads get the same chip as the iMacs? And I'm kind of like, what are you telling us? I want to know what's going to happen. Something Mac. I don't care what it is. Even if there's no new redesign, even if the 13-inch MacBook Pro looks exactly the same as the current 13-inch MacBook Pro, it just happens to have an M1X chip in it now, that would get me excited, because I'd be able to pick it up, test it out, see how fast it is, how much bigger the leap is from the M1 to M1X. M1 is already insanely fast, so if we could get just a tad bit more than that, I'd be very, very excited. So that's high on my wish list of what things I hope we get today. Yes, the event is pre-recorded, which means everything we're about to watch 1 hour from now, it's just turning 9 a.m. We have 1 hour until the event begins. And yes, as per usual, if you're new here, I will transition over to Twitch for the live reaction. This is just a hype stream we do on YouTube. Twitch is better for live streaming overall, but we do the countdown here on YouTube. The event is not live, that I know of, unless Apple mixed it up and somehow made a live event. But we're not expecting that. We're expecting it pretty much to be exactly like the last 3 to 4. Yeah, 4 Apple events were all pre-recorded. So Shraggy, thank you for the super chat. He didn't say anything, but I appreciate the donation. Gabrielle super chatted says we need to talk about how bad the iPad, I don't know this word, oleophobic is. Like how many oils it picks up. Do we need to talk about that? Is there a solution to fix it? Shraggy says, love your channel. You inspire me sometimes. I'm glad I inspire you some of the time, not all the time. That would get weird. Drew, would you get the new iMac if it only comes with M1 but not M1X? I'm really worried about that. I think someone asked me that before. Was it Nick? I think on the last tech podcast we talked about this. Yeah, that would really split. That would really make my heart hurt because I have wanted a redesigned iMac for basically a decade now. I remember back in 2010, 2011 being like, I really, really hope we can see, you know, a thin bezel iMac, a more modern, clean looking iMac that doesn't have a chin and thick bezels. Because I've been looking at iMacs that look practically the same. There's been little issues here. There's been little tinkers here and there, like space gray, and they get thinner on the side. But for the most part, the chin and the thick bezels around the edges have remained unchanged for essentially a decade, over a decade now. And I've really, really wanted the new design. So if we finally get a new redesigned iMac, 24 inches or 32 inches, really whatever size it is, I'm just excited to see the iMac face, the front, not the back, or the side angles, but the front of it finally change and update. That's what I'm really excited for. But the only reason I am still using an iMac Pro that still has Intel to this day, that annoys the crap out of me, is because it is technically, in one way, still faster than the M1, and it's a pretty important factor. Excuse me. I tried to swallow my spit. It didn't work. You guys killing me right now. I need to use my Apple branded water bottle that I bought at Apple Campus, which is limited edition. You can't get it anymore. Don't look. I actually don't know if they sell this still, but got that back in 2018. So the M1 chip, when I reviewed the MacBook Air, compared it to my iMac Pro, the M1 was still a bit slower at exporting. It was faster at everything else, like opening applications, real-time playback and editing in the Final Cut timeline, boot up times, everything about it, transfer speeds of files and stuff. Everything about it was faster than my 8-core Intel Xeon iMac Pro, except when it came to exporting. When I needed to export a video, the iMac Pro could still pull out a little bit ahead. So if they released like a 24-inch iMac that was redesigned and it looked great and it was all gorgeous and all that, but it still had the M1, I would just be like, I want the new iMac, but it'd be really hard to justify getting the new design if I knew that it would slow down my workflow technically. That would be prioritizing aesthetics over functionality. So obviously, I hope that doesn't happen. I don't think it will happen. It doesn't sound right for them to just put the M1 in the iMac and not give it something extra, you know, an M1X or something, and give it some kind of boost so that it could outperform my iMac Pro in every regard. That would be awesome, and that's what I would be more inclined to upgrade to. But if it's not that, and I still have to put up a slower speed, don't make me choose. That's gonna suck. Oh my goodness, we have some super chats to catch up with here. Okay, thank you everyone. Cameron says, after the event, how long usually until they start delivering? It depends. It's not super consistent. Sometimes I've seen a lot of events where they unveil them on Tuesday, but then you can't order them until Friday, and then they deliver a week from Friday. So that would mean in our case, pre-orders would start on the 23rd, and deliveries would start on April 30th. That's one way they could do it. It's not always that way. Sometimes it's available to order. Again, the Apple Store app is down right now. As we speak. Sorry for the frame drops. I'm on Starlink. They're still in beta. Sometimes there's little intermittent cutouts, so I will lag on occasion, but for the most part, they're doing fine. So sometimes the Apple Store app is down, which means we could be able to order iPad Pro, AirTags, iMacs, new MacBooks right after the event ends. It's possible. It could happen, which would mean that if we ordered them today, if things go really, really well and Apple's not been impacted by the chip shortage, they could start deliveries this Friday. We could be getting mini LED iPad Pros later this week. But that's probably a little bit too close. It's more likely that if they do accept orders today, we won't get them until the 27th. So you'll have to wait a week after deliveries after the order page goes up. Sorry for the frame drops there. I see it. You don't have to remind me of the lag. I can see it. OBS tells me when there's lag. But another possibility that would not be as fun because it would result in more waiting. And of course, we are not the most patient bunch because we've been waiting for this mini LED iPad for over a year now. What's also possible is they unveil it today, but say it's shipping in May, coming later, and they don't give us a date. They did something pretty similar with the iPad Air 4. They unveiled that in September, and they announced it, and they talked about the specs and all the great features and the design, and they unveiled it and everything, but they said, coming October. We were like, when? When in October? When's the ship date? When do we order them? And Apple was like, October. Stay tuned. We were just like, okay, when? I don't know when. They did a very similar thing with AirPods back in 2016 when they unveiled No, wait. Yeah, it was 16. Okay, 17 was iPhone 10. I know this. I've been doing this for a while. I got to remember this stuff. So in September of 2016, they unveiled AirPods, and they said coming in October, and they actually weren't ready in October. They were like actually coming later this year. So they didn't give us a solid date, and there have been a lot of rumors of the chip shortage directly impacting the mini LED iPad Pro production, and there have been a few analysts suggesting that mini LED mass production is facing some issues. So it's very possible that we could get an unveiling and all the specs and the pricing today, but they don't tell us when it's shipping. It could not ship until next month, and you might not even be able to order it in April. That's possible. It's happened before, and the chip shortage is impacting a lot of different companies. In fact, it's impacting Apple as well, so that could get hit today too. Wow, Benjamin takes the cake for biggest super chat of the live stream. Thank you very much. He donated 50 here. He says the movie YouTube John Campia's wife just started working at Apple, and he said his wife's first project was working on the new pre-recorded event. He said he was going to watch, and he delayed his live show, which normally launches at 1 by 2 hours. Wow, that's cool. So thank you, Benjamin. That's kind of proof this will be pre-recorded, but that makes sense. If you can edit everything and have really good B-roll and high-quality transitions and everything, why not do that? What's really the benefit if people aren't going to be there? Why have it live in the first place? So thank you for the super chat. Wow, super generous. Jamal Waffle Sponge, what a name, super chat. It says MacBook with a spring-loaded hinge confirmed. Yep, it's confirmed. It's spring-loaded. That's what it means. Everything's got to be spring-loaded. It's confirmation, of course. Okay, let me catch up, make sure I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, please avoid spamming if possible. Oh, okay, I missed one here. Ray Day, super chat. It says, my wish list, MagSafe battery pack. Oh, yeah, that was a thing for a while. We kind of forgot about that. It was referenced in iOS code. I think a few leakers said it was a thing. Those are kind of cool. Although I saw the Anchor one, it looked way too bulky. I saw the third-party ones, and I was like, it's too ugly. It needs to be slim. It needs to be about the thickness of the MagSafe wallet. All the third-party options are like this chunk battery that slaps on the back, and you're holding this brick around. See, it's so intuitive. It's got the battery pack. Yeah, I don't want that, but thank you for the super chat, JD. What else? AirPods Pro 2? I'd be surprised if we got that today, to be honest with you. I feel like there hasn't been much talk about an AirPods Pro refresh that's imminent. There's been a lot of talk of AirPods 3, but Apple almost never does AirPods refreshes. Yeah, in fact, they've never done a single AirPods refresh in an event. It's true. You can look it up. The only time AirPods were ever unveiled at an event was the first one in 2016. Ever since then, AirPods 2 were a site refresh. Kind of made sense. There wasn't a new design. They were just little tiny updates with the silicon, better battery life, that kind of thing. But then AirPods Pro, which was a redesign, new charge case, active noise cancellation, new features and all that, these were also a site refresh, not unveiled at an event. My voice is cracking, dang it. And then following year, we got AirPods Max, which is like as big as a redesign as you can imagine. We got the over-ear headphones, the headband, and the interchangeable cuffs and all this crazy design, 550, and they got transparency mode and the digital crown. All these crazy new things they had never done before with AirPods. Even that was a site refresh. And it was a couple of weeks after a very short November event, the M1 event. That was the last Apple event. They could have totally just designated the last 15 minutes of that event to AirPods Max, and they didn't. So I don't know what it is, but I think Apple has something against doing AirPods on stage. AirPods 3 look like a slight redesign, but nothing that crazy different. So that makes me wonder, like, what's the thing? Why do they against having AirPods on stage? Like, why are they against it? I don't know. Um, AirPods Pro 2 though, what do you guys have suggestions or stuff? Because I honestly have a hard time thinking of things they can do for AirPods Pro 2 other than just better battery life, better sound quality. Well, like, to me, I'd be like, get rid of that stupid lightning port. Just go all in on MagSafe. But people would probably be annoyed by that. Colors, we've been asking for years. Oh, well. Let me make sure I'm caught up here. Let's see. New MagSafe accessories in general. I can't think of that many, honestly, other than the ones we already have. Oh, no. New regular iPad? Okay, a few people are asking that. I don't know why. There hasn't been a ton of leaks suggesting the budget iPad is coming today. I don't think there is, personally, mainly because the iPad 8 came out in September. It's not even been a full year. And on the Apple website, I don't know if it works right now. Well, yeah, the Apple Store app doesn't work, but the Apple website should still work. If you go to apple.com and you go to the iPad section right now, follow along, ladies and gentlemen. It still says new under the budget iPad section. So I don't know why they would refresh the iPad 8 and go to iPad 9 now when they just recently gave it the A12 chip and they refreshed it and it's still considered new on the website. So I think we're going to get one this year. I just don't see why we would get it in the spring. They rarely have done. Yeah, they've never actually done a budget iPad refresh in less than a year. If anything, they've waited longer. Excuse me. They used to do all the budget iPad refreshes in the spring, but then one year, I think it was even last year, that they didn't do it in the spring and instead saved it for September. No, 2 years ago, I remember. That was with the iPhone 11 event. That's when they unveiled the iPad 7, which they waited longer than a year for, and then they did 1 year for the iPad 8, and now I don't see why they would do less than a year for the iPad 9. That doesn't really make much sense. So I don't think we're going to get an iPad 9 today. In fact, that's the one thing I'd be pretty certain isn't coming today. That and, Apple Silicon Mac Pro or something. This is going to age horribly if that actually launches, but that's why we do hype streams, because they age terribly, and people watch them ironically. Benjamin super chatted again. He says, if Apple wanted to win the gaming industry, they should design a super powerful game engine named Swift Engine that requires Swift code. It's not really up to Apple. That's the thing with game platforms, is it really all comes down to what developers are willing to optimize their games, and if you can get some exclusive titles. I've used this example a million times, but the hardware of the Nintendo Switch is honestly not that high-end. It's not super powerful. It's not about having the best game engine. It's not about having the highest graphics or the best frame rates or the highest resolution. It's really about the games. And if you have the most popular games and if you have exclusive titles that everybody wants to play, they'll buy into whatever the hardware is. So Apple, the company, designs the platform, the hardware, and a lot of the software. But as of right now, they have Arcade where they're kind of working with different game titles, but they're not as well known as the major ones. The Halos for the Xbox or the Spider-Man for the PlayStations or the Zeldas for the Nintendo Switch. They need something major like that to become a major game platform. It's not just like they haven't built the right GPU yet, or they haven't built the right App Store functions yet. The App Store has been set up in a way to make successful or high resolution, high frame rate games be optimized very well. There's just not a big catalog of gamers, so that's why developers don't really optimize for them. So anyway, okay, I got to catch up here. Daniel Baker says, fingers crossed for new iMac. Me too. Thanks for the 420. Nice. That is a funny weed joke I understand the relevance of. Haha, comedy. I appreciate the super chat. Raim Slayer super chat. It says iPad mini for the win. There actually have been a few analysts suggesting we could get the iPad mini 6 today. I am not super excited for it, though, mainly because all of the analysts and rumors about the iPad mini 6 are basically that it's just a normal iPad mini with a home button forehead, slightly thinner bezels. Not the iPad Pro mini we were all hoping for, with Face ID and USB-C and Apple Pencil Golf Edition, where it's like this Apple Pencil but shorter so it can actually fit on the iPad mini. That's what I want, because then it could become like almost iPhone replacement territory. It's like just a 4x3 iPhone basically that could fit in your pocket but still run iPad OS and be like a full screen display. I guess the camera wouldn't be great, And iPad mini probably will never get a smart connector just because keyboards for the iPad mini suck. They're so terrible. So yeah. While you're on there, do you do the iPod screenshots still have iOS 13? Oh, you're gonna make me check? Oh, you guys aren't doing anything. Do the iPod? That's something Apple would forget to update, isn't it? I'm looking. Okay, I'm on the iPod Touch webpage because obviously I have access to apple.com and no one else does. Does it still have... Well, they're not showing the home screen. How would I tell if they're iOS 13 or not? All right, you're going to have to look yourself. Maybe if I go to the tech specs. No, I think they're up to date. Yeah, it has the red music icon, but still Apple TV in the books. Do these... That looks up to date to me. How do you tell if it's on iOS 13? Didn't iOS 13 have a white music icon? So they did pay attention. Those geniuses. iPad mini for the win. Yeah, new iPad regardless would be nice. Oh, nobody special super chatted as well. Don't say that about yourself. You should change your name to somebody special, all right? But thank you for the super chat. For improvements to the AirPods, I'd say single ear detection, switching to mono output if only one's in. Well, that's a software thing. I mean, yeah, it's not a bad idea, but it's not something you would need new hardware for. You could... That's like a software request. It's a little different than like they need to change the... Oh, yeah, you won in the case. I see Ryan suggesting that. If they brought ultra-wideband tech to the AirPods so that you could have spatial awareness and track them down when you lose them, because people lose their AirPods all the time. Sorry for the lag. I see it. Apparently, Apple TV HD page is down, but Apple TV 4K isn't. Really? Michael is telling me maybe Apple TV HD is going away today? Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, so we have found an Easter egg, ladies and gentlemen. Let me show you. Let me make sure everything's... opt out. Okay, so... Oh, no, don't give me a copyright strike. So if we're on the Apple TV section here. At the top, I'm going to click Apple TV HD. It says be right back. But if I tap Apple TV 4K, it loads. Coincidence? I think probably. That's the most logical explanation. They probably just forgot to update the site. Okay, more super chats. Fingers crossed for the new iMac. That's by far what I would be most excited for today. New iMac is long overdue. We should have got a refreshed, updated iMac about 6 years ago. So the fact that we still don't have one. Chris Norton says hello. Hello, back to Chris. Thank you for the super chat. Luke says weirdly excited for AirTags. I am not. Okay, here's the situation. I'm not excited for AirTags. I'm excited for AirTags to come out so that the leaks can stop. That would be amazing because personally, I talked with my wife about it this morning. I was like, I don't think I want to get AirTags if they come out today. Like, do you think it would be dumb for us to get a little smart chip and attach it to our key ring so that we could track it down if we lost our keys? And she was like, yeah, that would be dumb. She was like, yeah, no, she was like, when was the last time we lost our keys? And I was like, oh, you're right. Never. we don't go anywhere. We're home all day, all the time. So I like never lose anything. And if I do lose something, it's probably because it has smartness on it already. It's like, oh, where's my iPad? Where's my iPhone? Oh yeah, ping it. That's pretty much as far as we go. So as regards to non-smart tech that we lose, yeah, I really got nothing. But AirTags have been in the leak community and the rumor community for literally 2 years now. Not joking. The first references to AirTags people talked about was around 2 years ago, back in 2019. And we're still talking about them. And if they don't come out today, there's still going to be a few people that are saying, maybe we're going to get AirTags at quadruple UDC. And then if we don't get them at quadruple UDC, people are going to, maybe we're going to get AirTags at the iPhone event. And people are going to keep it on their list of potential things that are going to launch. And they're going to keep asking about it. Like, hey, when do you think AirTags are coming out? When do you think? And I get annoyed with the question. And I'm kind of annoyed at the existence of the product now, to the point that at least if they come out today, I don't plan on keeping them. I might get some to review, but I'd return them. I don't want to keep them. But At least if they come out today, all of those questions will stop. All of the speculation, all of the people saying, I wonder how much AirTags are going to cost. I wonder when AirTags are coming out. All of those could finally just be put to rest and be like, okay, we know AirTags are out. They cost way too much. People think they're overpriced. The charging method's dumb. They're going to suggest you buy the Chipolo Find My Equipped chip or whatever, because those are cheaper, and AirTags, whatever you think is a fair price for AirTags, up it now. If they're going to cost more, okay? I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to warn you. I think there's been a lot of AirTags accessories spotted lately. So I actually, after reading the news this morning, I was like, you know what? I bet AirTags are coming out today. But for a while there, I wasn't quite sure. I was like, man, why would they announce all these third-party Find My Network things if they were just going to, if they were just going to announce AirTags later? It's very bizarre. But seeing all these accessories, this is what I was looking for. These have been spotted in a few different locations, which apparently say they're made for AirTags. So seeing these accessories like a few hours before the event makes me think, yeah, we're probably getting AirTags today. But again, it's not confirmed. Don't use the term confirmed. People overuse that term way too much. But yeah, there's been a lot of AirTags accessories leaks and that type of thing. So that's why I think, oh, okay, we're getting price predictions in the chat. Honan117 says $100 an AirTag. I don't think that's that crazy. Everyone else is probably going to think it's crazy, but genuinely, I think that's pretty close. YB says 50. Elfastic says 40. Oh man, you guys are you guys are so hopeful. You guys know who we're talking about, right? This is Apple. This is $700 wheels Apple. Okay, this is $1,000 stand Apple. This is $50 clear case Apple. Okay, a plastic clear case for your iPhone, $50. A normal watch band, $50. A recycled yarn watch band, $100, made out of recycled yarn. And you think they're going to sell AirTags for $30, Oliver? Come on. You think they're going to undercut the Galaxy Smart Tags? Get real. I like where Brody's mind at. He says $69. I find that humorous because 69 funny meme 69, haha 420. Comedy moment, haha, when the based. Yeah, so $69. Okay, RM Gaming is actually getting realistic, all right? He says $1,000 per tag. Now we're talking. Now we're in Tim Cook territory. This is a $50,000 computer. Rafael Ortega super chatted says, we will ask you for AirTags 2 tomorrow. Oh, no. So as soon as AirTags launch, everyone's going to be like, so, AirTags 2? When? AirTags 2? There's a cheaper, sporty version of AirTags coming later. The AirTags coming out today are made of high-quality leather. They're a premium luxury tag, and they're more expensive, but in a few months they'll release a cheaper version of AirTags made of a cheaper material. No. Another idea you guys should probably be thinking about is Apple selling AirTags in required bundles. That's an idea I've had for a while. I was like, I have a hard time believing that they would be $40 just for one, and they would just sell you one for $40. But I could see them selling you like 3 AirTags for $100. Like they make you bundle them up. Like you can't buy just one. Or if you do want to get just one, it's like $70. But if you want 3, it's $100. To make it feel like, well, you'd have to be an idiot to not buy 3. The value is so much there, and you can attach it to your keys, your bike, your backpack, instead of just $40 a piece. No, Apple's, no, they don't like that profitability. So they're going to want you to buy up a bunch of them, get all the AirTags out there, make the Find My network much more solid. Okay, let me scroll up, make sure I'm catching up on all the super chats here. I apologize if I don't read every message. Benjamin super chatted, says, why doesn't Apple use Qi for Apple Watch now? I don't know the specific answer. They haven't clarified, but my theory is that the charge coils of the Apple Watch are too small. If you look at the back, I know the watch itself is somewhat large, but the coils have to go on this little circular puck here. And the coils inside, if you've seen an iFixit teardown of the Apple Watch, are far too small compared to the Qi charging standard of how large those are. So AirPods actually have quite a large surface area on the back of places you can fit the coil compared to the tiny coil on the inside of the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch is actually pretty small compared. There have been smartwatches out there that support Qi charging. I'm well aware they exist. But the coils they use in the back are much larger than the Apple Watch coils. So I don't think it's a software limitation. I've gotten into a few heated debates with people who were suggesting that any Apple Watch could technically support Qi charging. They just turn it off via software. I don't think it's the case. I think there is a hardware limitation, but it has been high on my list of feature requests for the Apple Watch. If they did allow it to charge on any Qi charger, that would be great. It would also make devices like AirPower, not AirPower, but like AirPower a lot easier to make, especially if I could drop my watch on my little MagSafe charge puck here. That would be so much easier than having a different charge puck for the watch than the MagSafe one. MagSafe Duo could just be 2 MagSafe pucks instead of a MagSafe puck and a watch puck. I think it would be much nicer if the watch did support Qi. I don't know exactly why it can't or why Apple has decided it's going to be in its own separate charge connector. It uses very similar tech. It still coils magnetically going near each other and charging the battery, but it's just smaller. Basically, Qi Mini. It's a minier, smaller version of Qi charging, but because it's so much mini, it doesn't work. Sammy Feitlin says, what about macOS Big Chungus? That is confirmed officially the name, Sammy. Thank you for the super chat. I'm glad we got a leaker in the chat here. Oh my God, there's a lot of super chats here. I'm gonna go to the viewer activity section, see if I can. Oh no, it's not catching them all. Guys, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. So if some people have super chatted and I don't read them all, I really do apologize. I'm trying my best. YouTube live streaming studio is not preserving all of them, which is really annoying. I don't know why they aren't, but I'll do my best. I'm sorry, but in advance, if I don't read your super chat, I appreciate you. I'm very thankful for the donations, guys. I hope you know they're not expected. They're not required. I'm just very happy to have a community that is excited about Apple launches and Apple events like this, and I'm happy to be invested in it. So I have other people that are interested in common things as I am. So I just like interacting with you guys. But the super chats, of course, do help me buy a lot of these expensive products. So thank you. Nick, thank you for the super chat. He says, does Apple run out of pre-orders for new items, or will your items simply be back ordered? Never pre-ordered from them, but I'm considering it. I don't recall a time they've ever run out of pre-orders. I'm sure there might have been some cases where things just completely sell out and they don't take orders for them anymore, but it's usually not on new things. There have been times where they just sell out of certain Apple products, but they're usually not like the ones they just announced, like new iPhones or new iPad Pros that come out. They might get back ordered, like AirPods Max, where they're like, okay, you can order one today, but you're not going to get it for another 3 to 4 months. That's pretty common. I've never seen people pre-order to the point that they're like, okay, no more pre-orders. We're all booked out. We're not going to accept anymore. I haven't seen them do that. So I think the answer is just back ordered. Julian P. super chatted, says, what are you excited for the most? Honestly, the Max, and that's a wild card thing. The iPad Pro, I'm almost certain is coming. AirTags feel pretty likely just because of all the leaks of the accessories. Podcasts Plus is low on. That's the bottom of my list. I kind of despise all these new Apple services. I don't really like any of them, other than maybe the Apple Card. And it sounds very likely. There's been a lot of reports and a lot of analysts looking at the software and the data and the contacts that Apple's been reaching out to, and it's pretty likely that we could get a Podcasts Plus services where there's like a monthly membership to get access to premium ad-free podcasts. I ain't paying. That's stupid. And I'm a podcaster, okay? We're not going on Apple Podcast Plus, so don't worry about that happening. Sorry for the lag. I saw it. Okay. That's bottom on my list. Most excited for if we do get any kind of Apple Silicon in the Mac launch today. M1X chip in any form. Even if they just have the exact same Mac Mini we already have, except now it has an M1X chip in it. And that's the only difference. And the chip is faster than the M1. That would by far be the thing I'm most excited for, because I love my iPad Pro ever since 2018. I still love using it. And the 2020 iPad Pro is pretty good, but it didn't have enough features, in my opinion, to warrant replacing this one. Mini LED iPad Pro, the only way I could really see myself getting excited for it is if they announce some type of software exclusive or software benefits that the A14X chip it's rumored to ship with would allow for. If they're like, okay, now with the A14X chip, we can do Final Cut, or we can do Logic, or we could do external webcam support, or now we can do Xcode, all the pro application stuff. If they were like A14X chip now enables us to do this, then I would get really, really excited for the iPad Pro. But based on what I've read, I don't think that's what it is. I'm pretty sure that the mini LED iPad Pro is basically just going to be all about the dynamic range. It's going to be all about the new display. And the A14X chip will be fast, but it's my guess, it's my prediction that they're not going to have that much software to take advantage of the A14X chip. It's just going to be like, it's faster now. You can browse Twitter faster than ever before, and the Apple Pencil still works really well. That's what I think it's going to be, which is why I'm not super excited for the new iPad Pro, but I'm very curious, to say the least. I'm definitely fascinated to see how they handle it, how they price it, how they advertise mini LED, how they talk about mini LED compared to OLED, that type of thing. So good question, Julian. I think any Apple Silicon Mac thing would be top of my list, though. AirTags, I'm not excited for the product itself. I'm just excited for the leaks to be done. That's what I'm excited for. Alpha DeWolf super chatted, says, of all products, most people are excited for iMac. Yeah, I think I'm in agreement there. I think that's high on everybody's list for sure. Oh my God, YouTube Studio is broken. It's not working at all. I'm having a hard time reading the chat. I can see the super chats though. Okay. Dylan Hoyt, thank you for the super chat. He said Face ID on MacBook. Face ID on everything, please, including the MacBook. Yes, I love Face ID. It's my favorite biometric. I particularly love it on the iPad Pro because it works in any orientation. And I love that when it's locked or when I unfold it from the keyboard case, it just looks at me and unlocks. It's especially great when you're accessing online passwords and different like secure apps, because you could just be using your MacBook and then you go to a website where you want to log in, and instead of having to rest your finger on the power button to unlock with Touch ID, instead you're just using it. And then it looks at you. You're just like, oh, let me go to this website. It's you. And then it unlocks. Then I'm like, sweet. That's way more seamless, way more intuitive than Touch ID. So I'm a huge fan of Face ID. Yes, I want it on the MacBooks. I want it on the iMacs. I want everything. Apple Watch doesn't make a huge... Face ID on AirPods. Screw it. Keep going. Ray Day super chatted, says we will all be disappointed. I know it. But this isn't the disappointment stream. It's the hype stream, because there's potential. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to be unveiled. After the event, yeah, that's, Christmas morning is always less exciting than the build up to Christmas. At least as a child. When you get older, it's like, hey, socks, I wanted these. That's what becoming an adult is all about, getting excited about socks. Chris Norton super chatted again. Thank you very much. He says, let's hope the iMac comes out. There have been several 21.5-inch iMacs running low on stock. They've been taking away storage configurations. So seeing those, I can't help but get pumped there. I'm debating, if it came out today, I'm debating whether or not I could live with a 24-inch display, because I tried a 32-inch monitor for a while and I really loved it. And the only reason I'm not using it is because I want to have a more minimal, clean desk setup, and the 27-inch iMac Pro is fine. The screen's decent, and I would really have a hard time settling for a smaller display, but maybe if the bezels are thin enough and the performance is there, I'd be kind of tempted, depending on how the price is. Maybe if the price is super affordable, I could justify, be like, okay, you know what? I'll get used to a smaller screen, but I'll save a bunch of money, and it'll still be really fast. So there's a part of me that's thinking, like, if they unveil that, I might upgrade my iMac Pro and just get that instead. If the 32-inch iMac comes out 6 months from now, okay, darn. I guess I don't get the big one anymore, but it'll probably cost a lot more too. So we will see. I'm trying not to get too excited, but yeah, we're most likely, Ray Day, yes, we will be disappointed. That's going to happen. Chris Norton, oh yeah, I already read that one. Rockford Media, thank you for the super chat. Says, hey Drew, good. I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm pumped. I'm thankful for all you guys tuning in and the super chats. You guys are being very, very generous today. Thank you. And I'm sorry the Starlink is being laggy and I'm freezing on occasion. It's in beta right now. It should be out of beta in a couple months, and then we won't have these types of issues. So hopefully by quadruple UDC, you won't see the frame drops as regularly, but they're working on it. They're sending up more satellites. Oh, Alwyn. That's Alwyn Art. Should I upgrade to the new iPad? Oh, hey, Alwyn Art. Check him out on Twitter, guys. He does amazing concept art. He's very talented, and he does most of his work on, I believe, iPad Pro with Apple Pencil. So very talented. Takes the iPad to its full potential. It's amazing. Should I upgrade? I don't know. I know you have a somewhat recent generation one, I believe. I'm not convinced. I mean, it depends on how much dynamic range really matters to you, because to me, at least, I'm more of a refresh rate guy. Like, I care about having 120 hertz more so than extreme dynamic range. Like, going between my iPhone 12 mini and my iPad Pro, I prefer the iPad Pro, even though the iPhone 12 mini has much more dynamic range. And, the black pixels are really, really black and dark, and the bright pixels can get really bright when you're watching high dynamic range content. You can see really, really high color, great vibrancy. It's a good display, but I don't see those issues with an LCD very often. Like, I look at the iMac Pro all the time, and I always think this display looks great. I did check out the Pro Display XDR last weekend, finally, the first time, and I looked at it and I was like, yeah, this looks great, but I think what I mainly love about it is the thin bezels and the size. The dynamic range itself was not... I didn't find it super noticeable. I was like, yeah, if I look really hard. And it was right. They had the Pro Display XDR right next to a 27-inch iMac. So I could go right next to a regular LCD and be like, okay, that's what my computer looks like. This is the Pro Display. It's a bit better, but not like night and day. It's something, in my opinion, you're going to get used to pretty quick. Whereas 120 hertz to me is super noticeable, very appreciative, the just motion, just how lifelike it looks. So for me, mini LED probably being the biggest selling point of this new iPad. I don't know. It really does come down to how it looks, which is why I'm kind of reserving whether or not I'm going to upgrade based upon if I look at it and I fall in love and I realize that, oh my God, this display looks so great, I can't go back. Because that has happened to me. I used to not think 120 hertz was a big deal. But then when I got that first 2017 iPad Pro and it had 120 hertz, I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. So if I have one of those moments with mini LED, maybe I will want to keep it. But yeah, at least try it out. I feel like there's no harm in checking one out at a Best Buy or an Apple store, looking at one, or even buying one just to review and then returning it if you end up not liking it. But yeah, I think it'd be worth looking at for sure. It's hard to sell on paper. When you just see it on a web page and they say the dynamic range is great, that does make it kind of difficult. But wow, I got to catch up here. MBTR, thank you for the super chat. Oh no, come on, Starlink, you can find the satellite. You can do it. Go up. Hopefully you can still hear me. As long as you can hear me, I guess it doesn't really matter. MBTR says, do you think we will see any new augmented reality products today? Bloomberg has been saying there's some type of AR stuff in development, but personally, I don't buy it. I don't think there are. They've been talking about like VR, AR goggles that kind of do both. Not glasses, but goggles that would do different gaming experiences and that kind of thing. And I don't know. To me, it sounds like a prototype Apple would be messing around with to develop applications and software for Apple Glass, but not something they would actually sell to consumers. Just because of the App Store not being very VR friendly and the Macs kind of giving up on VR and that kind of thing. That's made me kind of think, I don't see them selling a headset, but they could. Anything's possible, but I don't personally, if you're asking my prediction, I don't think they will. I think they're not going to announce a augmented reality product until the glasses are ready, and I think that's a few years away still. Isaac super chatted says, I have Series 3 watch. Would you suggest getting a new one? Yeah, I mean, maybe wait, because we probably are going to get new Apple Watches this September, which is not honestly that far away. So if you're willing to wait and hold on to the Series 3 just a tad longer, you'll probably be able to get a better Apple Watch that's going to launch in the foreseeable 5 months from now. Not even that long. Yeah, it's April, so September. Yeah, it's not even half a year. So if you can wait, sure. But if you're not really interested in anything new and you just want something slightly better than the Series 3, like the SE is what I would recommend a lot of people get. Series 3 is kind of old. The design is somewhat dated, in my opinion. Every time I look at a Series 3, I'm just like, ugh. We used to live with those bezels, and I've just gotten so used to this design that looks so much cleaner and the bezels look so much better. So I would recommend upgrading, but later in September. Wait if you can. If you can't wait, you're just not interested in waiting and you just want to get one now, but at least look for a discount. They go on sale on Amazon and stuff. Julia super chatted, says possible teaser for Apple Glass. Anything's possible, but I doubt it, honestly. I know that we always, pretty much every event, think Apple Glass is right around the corner. I'm still convinced it's pretty far away. I don't think the tech is that close, and I think that Apple is rarely first to anything. And by the time Apple Glass comes out, there's probably going to be a Samsung and OnePlus or something version of augmented reality glasses that are going to be out for a while. So that's what makes me think like it's probably several years away. So I doubt we'll see a teaser of it. Oh no, Starlink at 0. Sorry, everybody. 1 sec. Please revive yourself, Starlink. Oh, come on, come on, come on. It needs a satellite. You can do it. No, don't end. Don't end. Okay, it's coming back. Should be back now. Sorry about that. It was looking for a satellite. It's really bumpy today. I looked on the website and it was like experiencing intermittent service. Should be back online now. Okay, let's see. Possible teaser for Apple Glass. I don't think it's going to happen, but anything's possible. I could be wrong. I've been wrong lots of times in the past, to be fair. Rockford Media Super Chat. It says, have you had really light OLED burn-in on the status bar? I thought I did not have burn-in, but it's very light. Also, next 16-inch MacBook Pro redesigned. I don't think we're going to get the 16-inch MacBook Pro today, although that would be amazing. I would love anything with the Mac and new Apple Silicon. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get one today. I have not experienced any burn-in on any OLED display I've ever owned. On any of the iPhones I've had with OLED, I've never seen any burn-in. The first iPhone 10 I bought on launch day way back in 2017, my mom is using it now, and I checked on her phone a few weeks back, and there was no burn-in. And that's like the earliest OLED iPhone ever, and it still does not have burn-in. So Starlink is mostly fine. It's unnoticeable. These dropouts are pretty much unnoticeable other than when you do these types of live streams. But it's been okay. We dropped 3.6% of frames, so it's not terribly high. It's gotten better. It used to be like 6 or 7%. Now it's gone down. Okay. So no burn-in for me, but I think we'll get a 16-inch MacBook Pro redesign maybe like end of this year. Maybe like October, November. Probably not today. Jeff Super Chat, it says, I want an iPad Pro with Touch ID. You think it's here? There have been 2 generations of iPad Pro with Touch ID. They're just a bit older. You mean like a newer iPad Pro with Touch ID? The only way I could see them doing it is if they incorporated it on the power button. I could see them maybe doing that because there's talks of Apple bringing back Touch ID because of the pandemic for the iPhones. So the iPhones would have Face ID and Touch ID as a backup. So maybe if the iPad Air 4 has Touch ID on the side button. So if you brought that to the iPad Pro, it's like we have Face ID and Touch ID. Use whatever you want. Not likely, but if there was a way to bring it back, that's how I could see it. I don't think Apple would bring it to the display. How long until we see Touch ID on a 12.9-inch screen? Not likely. It's kind of expensive, and Android companies haven't even been doing it, and they would probably be doing it long before Apple would be doing it. So I don't know. I think it could be never, possibly. Sorry, I know you really like Touch ID, but doing it, yeah, I know what you're saying, because single point Touch ID on a device like this doesn't make a lot of sense, because if you're holding it like this, you would have to hold your finger here. If you were holding it like this, you'd have to hold it here and reach out and touch it in a certain way, opposed to just it unlocking when you look at it. It's a lot more simple and intuitive to me. So I'm all on Team Face ID personally, but yeah, I can understand some people prefer Touch ID. They don't like the face things. It makes sense. Any issues with the latency on Starlink? Not really. The latency is a little low, a little high, but I don't do a lot of online gaming, so that hasn't made a big difference. So whenever I'm watching YouTube, I never experience any dropouts. Whenever we're watching movies, we can watch 3 to 4 hours of TV shows and stuff, and the dropouts aren't noticeable because you're streaming content. So if it drops out for a second, you still have some preloaded bandwidth. The only time the dropouts are a little bit inconvenient are when you're doing a very heavy internet dependent service like this where you're live streaming. So I'm constantly downloading data as you guys are sending messages, and I'm watching the live stream, and I'm constantly uploading a 1080 at 60 broadcast. That is very much noticeable when you get a slight dropout, but the dropouts are supposed to go away. They have been going away. They've been a lot less frequent as of late, and by summertime they should be gone completely. So I'm just putting up with it in the short term, but Okay, finally, we got up on the super chat. Oh, I was just caught up on super chats. Julian P says, "What are you least excited for?" Okay, I confidently have an answer for this now. Oh my God, 16 minutes. The live stream just went by like that. It's 15. We're 15 minutes away from spring loaded, guys. Wow, that was quick. Okay, least excited for sure is the rumored Podcast Plus, because I completely understand why Apple is going the services route, because they know that hardware is not going to probably last them forever, because people are going to start holding on to hardware longer and longer. At least statistically, they already have. There's been people reporting like now people hold on to iPhones for 3 years at a time or 4 years at a time and approaching 5 years at a time on average. I don't think the stream has started yet. We still probably got 5 minutes until Apple goes live, but the event still will not start at 10. Sometimes in fact, most times they will go live like 10 minutes before, just with like a visualizer and just some like animations, like, okay, the event's about to begin, but they won't start announcing or talking about anything until 10 a.m. typically. But yeah, the services thing makes sense because they know people are not going to be upgrading their hardware as regularly. Smartphone sales are going to start plateauing and stuff. So they want to become more of a services company where they focus more on recurring revenue of people subscribing to things monthly. I get that. I understand that, but it's way less interesting. It's way less exciting, in my opinion, events in events to talk about just here's a new subscription service we came up with. Now there's going to be podcasts that you have to pay for, which I can't think of a single successful podcast streaming service that's been a success. So I don't, it sounds like there's been so many pretty reliable people talking about it. And there's been lots of people saying like, I noticed this change in the podcasts app. I noticed this billing thing, and there's probably going to be a subscription for premium podcasts and that kind of, it's just, I don't know. That's not my thing. I would not subscribe for $1 a month to get access to premium podcasts. I just feel like that should be a free thing, or that should be like a take away ads thing. But knowing Apple, I don't think there's a way they can build it up like that. That's the only way I would be somewhat interested in it, because me and my buddies, Nick, who's in the chat, I believe, we do podcasts regularly. If there was some kind of program that was similar to YouTube where Apple announced a way for you to upload your podcast directly to them, and then if people subscribe to Podcast Plus, then you would get the ads removed. But if you hosted the podcast through Apple, they would put ads in there automatically, or you could manage them, and that's how Apple would pay you, instead of having to go through like a third-party hosting service, which is what we do now, that puts in ads kind of like YouTube does automatically. Yeah, at least Joe Rogan is free. He's exclusive to Spotify, but he is still free. It doesn't cost anything to watch him. But knowing Apple, it's probably going to end up being like a exclusive podcast that you can only access on there, and they're going to probably take a few really, really popular podcasts that people like and dump them on Podcast Plus, and that's it's like behind a paywall. But they'll probably have a free trial or something, a 3-month free trial, bundle it with Apple One or something. Wouldn't you make us subscribe to be able to listen to your podcast? No, that's the thing. I would only do it if it was like, you can listen to our podcast for free with ads, or you could subscribe to Podcast Plus and there won't be ads, but you can still listen to us. And that's basically how it is on YouTube. So you guys, like, you can watch my YouTube videos for free, but there's going to be ads on them because that's how I get paid. But if you subscribe to YouTube Premium, you can watch my videos without ads. And I like that. It's like I get money from YouTube Premium viewers as well. So I get reimbursed. If someone's willing to pay a little bit extra to not be inconvenienced by ads, they can choose to do that. But if someone doesn't want to pay that extra money and they just want the content for free, then okay, you just got to put up with some ads. We don't like ads. Obviously, it'd be great if there were no ads, but also people wouldn't make money if there weren't ads. So that would make their job a lot harder. Life costs money, so that's part of the process. Let's see. No one needs Podcast Plus. Yeah, I don't know anybody asking for a Podcast Plus. Apple's just basically trying to think of pop-ups to have in the app. They want to have another tab in the podcast app that's there just for like, subscribe to this, subscribe to this, subscribe to this, and they're just gonna have something else to push in your face every time you open the podcast app. It's gonna be like, you should subscribe to Podcast Plus, and I'm not excited for that at all, and I have a very strong suspicion we're going to get that unveiled today. The stream has officially started. The event hasn't started, but yeah, just in a minute or so here, I'm going to get switched over to Twitch briefly. Adrian super chatted as well. He says, will iPad will be updated with laminated display. So don't expect the iPad 9th generation to come out today. Everything that's getting updated today probably already has a laminated display, which is iPad Pros and iPad Mini. Those are the two iPads we should expect to get refreshed. Those both have laminated, regardless. iPad 9 is rumored to potentially get a laminated display and an updated design with the thinner bezels, bigger display, thinner chassis, but that's not coming out today. iPad 9th gen probably going to launch, most likely going to launch in September. I would be very surprised if we got the iPad 9 today. Just doesn't really make sense for them to refresh it that quickly. Do you think it would be more economical to upgrade each year and sell the last gen iPhone before it depreciates in value? You can recoup a lot of the cost, but overall, you're probably better off just not upgrading every 3 to 4 years. That's what most people do. And overall, if you do the math, you'll probably save more money that way. To just the selling of your old phone can help offset the cost of the new one, but if you're just not upgrading every 3 to 4 years, you'll save a lot more. But then you get less features. So you take some, you lose some, you know. Let's see. Oh, that was quick. It just flew. It haven't even set my video production equipment for making YouTube videos yet. Yeah, I will do a recap video after the event, and then we're going to do a podcast after the event as well. That we'll try to get up later today. And hopefully Nick and Randy will be able to be on it. I think Randy can join. Last I talked to him, he said he's up for it, but plans might have changed. I have YouTube Premium, but I hate YouTube Music because I don't like it to be linked with what I listen to on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube Music's not my favorite either, but I've been a premium subscriber since the day it was available. I'd been suggesting YouTube come up with a paid option with no ads for years and years and years before they did, because I watched more YouTube than anything. And that's why I intentionally don't do sponsored videos on my channel, because I don't like ads. And sometimes I have premium and then there's still ads because there's sponsors in the video. I'm just like, I can't escape it. Anyway, it's time, guys. We got less than 10 minutes before the event begins. The live stream has already started. I apologize if I didn't read every single super chat. I did my best. It looks like Adrian's was the final one for me. I'm going to be moving over to Twitch now. It's just Tailosive Tech. If you're on Twitch, or download Twitch real quick. I'll see you guys over there. And thank you all for tuning into the live stream. Hope you guys have an excellent time watching, and I hope all of your dreams come true thanks to Tim today. Good morning, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.